after lunch. I know, I've done lots of training courses and I usually get the after lunch session. And it's a tough one, so I'm empathising furiously with you. Can I get the activity managers that are here? I've got a few. Can you just come up the front and... That includes you, Mark Hawley. So I've got, these are three of our activity managers. So I found them at lunchtime to ask questions. Mark Ortlieb and Murray Taylor are running an activity together, and Andy has stepped up to the Cub Scout section from the Joey Scouts to run an activity as well. So, alright, so there are 6 activities running each day, 2 rotations per day. I think it's already been covered off that Cubs will have a rotation wristband. So we tried to make even groups for each rotation because the sub-camps are uneven. So there'll be 2 rotations per day, times 6 activities across Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. There's also 3 spare time activities, so Cherry Lane will be running. We'll also have an extra couple of activities this year because we've got some huge numbers. So there's a Back to Gilwell activity and the CFA as well. Leaders will be required, line leaders will be required to be at the activity with their cubs and be prepared to be involved in the activity, and on at least one activity you will actually be part of the activity. So we urge you to come along. I know it's tempting to just go and sit next to the coffee van, but we really appreciate seeing leaders there, especially with the numbers that we've got. We're going to need all the help we can get keeping the activities moving. So there will be there'll be 6 or 8 wet activities with the rains, but officially there's only 1 wet activity, and they will get wet and muddy, so spare clothes are a must. So again, line leaders, let your parents know, go to the op shop and buy some really old clothes because they may not come home.
Don't name you if you don't want them back.
What Dan said. Alright, Cherry Lane, as I said, is a spare time activity. It'll be open all week on a drop-in basis. The best thing about Cherry Lane is that you can just drop in. So if you've got half an hour where your cubs are going a bit stir-crazy in camp, bring them down to Cherry Lane. It's sort of like a carnival sideshow activity, so they're short, just jump in and do it activities. Leaders, there won't be a whole lot of leaders running the activity, so we prefer if a couple of line leaders accompany the cubs to help just keep things in order. Sometimes if there's long objects or balls involved, they get thrown around and new games get invented, so it's good to have adults to just, put the stick down, go back to what you're meant to be doing. But it's spare time, literally, so if you're at a loss for keeping your cubs entertained, bring them down. Back to Gilwell is spare time. It's a self-guided tour of Gilwell Park, so who's camped at Gilwell Park or done a training course there this year? Okay, so everyone's been there. I went to Gilwell Park about 3 times over 3 Cuborees and probably saw about a 4th or 5th of it. So the idea of this tour is that you find out all the good stuff that is there and some history behind it and a little bit more about what the park actually has to offer and why it's there, that sort of thing. So it's self-guided, but it does take some time. So it's not like Cherry Lane where you can just drop in if you've got 10 or 20 minutes. It'll take sort of half an hour, 45 minutes. I think closer to 45 minutes to get around the whole tour. So book in some time and bring your cubs along. Or leave them behind and just do the tour yourself. There's another one. CFA, the Gembrook CFA will be on site, just near the main car park and near the Johnson Campfire Circle. They'll have their education truck. It'll be a fully equipped CFA truck, and they'll be giving you some hands-on experience of CFA activities and the sorts of things they do and how they do it. Okay, Okay, this is Arabian Nights. These are the full activities. They're running Tuesday through Thursday. I'm not going to give you any details. This is all high level for a reason. So you have to actually turn up now to find out exactly what is going on. So Arabian Nights is based on Ali Baba, the story of Ali Baba and the 40 Thieves, and treasure. Think treasure, caves, evil genies. And this is the activity where the pack arcade will be a part of the activity. You're an integral part of this activity. So make sure you get to that rotation. There are no passengers at Cuboree to sleep. Census 1001, Murray and Mark are running Census 1001. Did you want to? Yeah. Sorry, I didn't give many warnings, but so this is this activity. Was run last Cuboree for those who went to last Cuboree as a drop-in activity. It was so popular and successful that we've expanded it out to a full activity this year. And it's all about exploring the experience of people. I've written living with disability, but it's actually living with different abilities. So, or one less ability than somebody else. So Cubs get hands-on experience of finding out what it's like to lose one of their senses and how living like that might be. I had great feedback about this activity last time. My Cubs couldn't stop talking about the colour blindness activity in the tent. They're still talking about it 3 years later, so they're Scouts now. The cautionary tale, this is Andy, the Joey Scouts are running a cautionary tale. This is the wet and dirty activity. It's physically challenging and they'll definitely get wet and they'll definitely get muddy. So it's an activity course. So what I'm recommending is the day pack that every Cub will be carrying. I want to see leaders carrying 15 day packs. Cubs carry their own day pack, and on this, when you're on this rotation, chuck in a change of clothes, like the top half. So to make sure they bring a jacket and a clean shirt, something to put on to take the wet stuff off. So if their pants are wet and muddy and their shoes are wet and muddy, you can live with that. But if the top half is cold and wet and muddy, that's when kids get miserable. So the main thing is get them out of their wet shirts if they're really muddy and try and get them into something dry, or at least put a jacket over the top to get back to the summer camp. So, but all the activities are fairly physically challenging, so you should get some sleep this year. And it's not going to rain. Aladdin and Princess Jasmine. It's about the marketplace in Cuboree, so they're going to have a big marketplace. There'll be a few other surprises in there as well. There is a lot of imagination in this activity. It is all very much just imagine you're actually there type stuff. So again, leaders, we need you to get actively involved and jump in. It's very theatrical. Make yourselves a part of it. This is the off-site activity, that's streaming. For those of you who've been to past Cuborees, I don't know why Baz always gets put off-site, but I'm going to ask him this time, why? What did he do wrong? No, Baz's off-site activity, it's training for an epic battle, he tells me. So again, it'll be physical, very physically challenging, so hopefully by the time the Cubs come back, they'll go straight to bed. It is off-site, but I can't tell you any more than that. Sorry. Now, I'm going to ask for some help. To Scouts and Beyond is open each day as a rotation as well on Boys Field, for those who know Gilwell. Again, it's physically challenging, endurance and fitness, but at the end of it, each Cub will get a Tri-Scouts badge. So this is introduction to scouting activity for Cub Scouts. So this is what's coming next. A Cuboree is like the first major event well, if you haven't been in Joey's, but a Cuboree is probably the closest thing to going on a Scout Jamboree in terms of size and camping for a long period of time and doing really physical things every day. When they get up to Scouts, they can expect Cuboree, but for twice as long. So it's sort of like, the idea of this activity is to prepare them for what might be coming in the next section. And hopefully keep them in Scouts so long. So they will get a badge, and it is a uniform badge. It can be worn on the uniform. And they'll also be talking to them about the next Jamboree. So if anyone's free in 2019, talk to Dan. So they're the activities that are running. Does anyone have questions? And shout, because I'm deaf in one ear. Yep. Oh, thank you.
I don't know if you're in charge of the program as well. Last Cuboree we found that the muddy activity in Subcamp 3 where we were, all of the packs from the surrounding area all went to the muddy activity together as one group and then came back and hit the 4 showers. We had a lot of muddy, wet cubs in the rain waiting for the showers, whereas in other areas they hadn't been at the muddy activity. I was wondering whether it's scheduled so there's a spread of kids hitting the muddy activity to ease the shower queues.
The wristband groups are made up of a spread of kids from each of the 3 subcamps, and they're all pretty even.
Awesome, thank you.
Should be able to spread cubs around showers too. If there's showers are busy, go to another campsite or move around the subcamp to get hold of showers. We could do that. We may just send them down to the campfire circle and line them up on the stage and hose them down. That's a brilliant idea. Leaders who muck around can join that queue too.
Any other questions for Karen? No.
All good, thank you.
Before we move on, thank you, Karen. We've got an item of lost property, as well as the list of people here you're going to see soon. Anyone's missing their Gilwell woggle? And it's an older Gilwell woggle, you can tell, because it's nicer than the new crap you get. Come and see me, it's up here on the document camera. Okay. Put this back how it's supposed to be. Introducing Sue and the Smile team to tell you all about the fabulous things PR are going to do. Come on down, Sue.
These desks were invented for the team that Dan and I work on, so I don't need them. I'll just stand away. Where's the clicker? That's the only important thing. Okay, so there we are. Good. So we all started working, as everyone has said, a long time ago, but we got the fun bit. Oh, you can hear. Cool. We got the fun bit, and so yes, David and Janet are here. In our little tight-knit team, we have 36 Cuborees under our belt, so we figure there are a few little things we can still convey, and we still get just as excited about every single one. So Marge, Sue and Trevor were part of the envelope stuffing team. All those envelopes that your Cub Scouts and eligible Joey Scouts received, 7,000 of them, were hand done. We're pretty proud of that, and we think that was a big contributing factor to enthusing our children, even if they didn't get to come. Yeah, luckily they did issue us with peel and stick envelopes, otherwise we would have been in the way. Anyway, yeah, so part of that was also the Cuboree 101 days, which were offered to regions and districts, and those who had us there think we contributed. So they were fun, informative days where Janet has an expertise in welfare, so she's our tight-knit chief who takes care of our welfare. David is a past, what do you call it? Chief director, camp director, whatever. So different skill sets, and Maria has joined us from the last Cuboree. Again, a different skill set that I have no skills in at all. So that's what makes a team work. Where are we? And we'll be supported by Good Scouts, Mark marketing and communication. So our first brief, once we're on site, is to transform a forest to a canvas village. And it happens really quickly. So the photographers will be there from Thursday, and I know some of you would have already beaten us to it, but some of us like to get to work. So that's what we'll be capturing. And the really, really exciting bit is in the car park and at the entries when those buses arrive. There is nothing to replace that look of expectation. It makes it all worthwhile. Then on Tuesday, when that anticipation has been built to another level, the SMILE team hits the activities. So we'll have a presence at all the on-site and, we'll get to them, the off-site, that's where they were last year, capturing those memories of the once-in-a-lifetime event, which you've heard. But blow me down, when you get home and it's November, December and March the next year and June, it's still living at home. So we'll be getting those smiles on the first day. Then daily, the morning, because of this daylight saving bizzo, the light could be a bit sharp. But at night, when you're having that walk into the campfire circle, we're going to have a photo roll of material that the team have captured from the previous day. A little aside, I'm sure it's been mentioned, the ground can get quite cold. For you very creative club leaders, you only need a little bottom to fit onto a bit of your yoga mat. So if you've got any of those, yeah, they said the bigger folk weren't to go into campfire circle. So just snip up a yoga mat, and the club's responsible for their own little bottom, and that little bit of yoga mat fits into their day pack, and they said everyone's happy and cheerful. Some generous pack-up-caners might want a little bit of a tarp, but you'll work it out. So while they're coming in, they can see what we've all been up to. What we're also going to do is personalise and have USBs going to sub 1, 2 and 3 where the Cub Scouts are, and those will be about in the marquees where they're laptops. But those are the, I've spoken to some chiefs, and that's what's going to happen there. Our Cub Scout reporters tell it the way it is, and that's a great joy, interviewing them. That's a process that's still put into place. It's not random, the Cubs are prepared, not with what to say, but the ones who are comfortable to speak. So we don't just trump up any child and interview them. There is a process to that. And then obviously we're gathering material for doing this all over again in a few years' time, making those memories. And that's us. Any questions? Cool, we can go.
Thank you, SMILE team. Because this is being live streamed, we are getting questions from statements from people who aren't here. And one of the people who isn't here is Michael, who's running a Look Wide activity for the Venturers, who got quite cross because Karen forgot him. So I said I'd mention Look Wide, which is the activity the Venturers can do outside of their work hours. It's an evening activity. There'll be a study hall and fun things to do over at Hoagley Hall. There you are, Michael. I've said it. Leave me alone. Hans Harms couldn't be here today, but he's got his trusty boss, Trevor, the director of everything, who's going to come here and very joyfully tell us things. Yeah, Trevor Littlebottom is here to talk all things police and security too.
So the first concept of security is always being observant. I'd like you to look at your neighbour next to you and see if they're missing an earring. Or more particular, this earring. Anybody? It'll be available at reasonable costs at the security government. Senior Sergeant Hans Harms is in charge of the police scouters and our security at Cuboree. In the old days, of course, no one worried about security because everyone was nice and everyone was lovely and it was a much smaller camp. But these days of great governance and great safety and great all those other things which have been powered on above us, we need to upgrade our security and safety. And of course, that's this is one of my 5,000 teams. Well, it's only 5 teams. Was that the number of emails I've received today? So their task is to maintain the law and order. Obviously, it's the police scouters, who you may or may not know as part of the scouting group, of course. Many current serving police and ex-serving police, and people who just like playing in the security world. get together and look after most of the major events around Victoria through the Police Scouters group of our Scout Association. You may not know though, Victoria Police, God bless their soul, and their bean counters are now trying to charge every community event if they ever want policing at their community event. We believe we have got their Smiling Award so that we will have them there for free. So that means we will be able to have police people who are on duty wearing uniform at the Cuboree. This has great benefit to both us as a Cuboree and our safety, because suddenly there's a police presence rather than these people wearing orange shirts. But it's also great for the police because they get to interact with little kids, and little kids get to react with them and interact with them. So there's that bond between police and the community, which of course is one of the very important parts of police scouting. So their jobs including mainly looking after the whole vehicle access and egress around the site, especially when all the coaches arrive. Gets a little bit risque, but they do all the traffic management and all the pre-planning, etc. They also do security patrols if need be, and we fingers across. They give behaviour guidance. As required. And obviously, if there's any serious issues, the police take the charge. The most senior policeman or woman or person, depending if you're called PC or if you're Mac. Thank you very much. Whoever's the highest ranking police person takes charge of the whole thing, and we just spout to whatever they do, because that's the rules of the game. They also get involved, along with Dan, with all the safety and emergency management, and hopefully, no, we won't have any of those. Maybe. But we're talking Cuboree, we're talking October. Nah. But of course, they are one of the major things to ensure that people driving around the site on their golf carts, etc., etc., behave the road rules, etc. And of course, they always have their ways of making sure the speed. Watch out for the police around there. They'll be around everywhere. They're living in car park 1 is their major focus, obviously, because that's their major workspace as well as everything else. They'll be driving around in their golf cart, and I'm sure they'll decorate it accordingly. Oh, there's so many lines I want to say, but I'm not going to. Oh no, that doesn't say it's going to smell like bacon. No. So if there's any questions or comments, did I get away with it? I guess I'm Mac, not PC. Any questions or comments, feel free to ask them now. I probably can make an answer. Or send me an email and I'll chase up the real police scouters who will answer it appropriately. I don't think there's any questions because we're just wonderful and I'm just such a great guest speaker and I'm clear about everything.
Thank you, Trina.
Sorry.
I've got a question.
Oh.
Was it somebody's 60th birthday the other day?
Sure. So the first thing they have to do, of course, that's better. Another member of my team.
No, I'm saving it when no one's looking because I'm supposed to care. Okay, I'm leaving. No, that's all right. I'm used to jogging, so I can. Cuboree, see that's all fussy now, God, I can energy. For the time of the Cuboree, and we've been empowered to look after them, and I have to expect you, and I trust you to do that. So, in saying that, we will look after you. We have lots of different ways of doing that. Now I better play with this thing. So, oh hang on, I'll put up the other clock. So I'm not a manager, but apparently I'm a general manager. And the thing is falling off anyway. Okay. My second in charge is Paul Ziegler, often known as lots of other things, but Ziggy. He's going to stand up. He's in charge of the first 18 Force branch anyway. And if you don't know him, or one of his amazing team, because he's the little man in green. And one of them will have taught you if you've got your level 2 first aid, or it's called something else now, 0.1. Yeah, that one. Leanne Fraser's not here today. She's at Whitehorse Bumping. She's running Care Bear Castle. She's amazing too, with a team of other leaders. And I've met someone else today, another Adele. She's helping as well. Our adult welfare. Would you like to come down, just do a little prance? And while they're show you because you won't miss them. Did I have music? Oh, okay. Now you can go back. Now you all come down. That's right. Hang on.
Can we present you with your official
Oh, awesome, because I forgot to put mine in today.
We're going to go back 400 slides. When you get to adult welfare, you stick to your slides.
Oh, okay. That's why I'm a really good nurse and you do all the other stuff.
No. Let you down again, I'm sorry.
Okay.
I'll just rewind it back to where you were. Strap yourselves in, she's going to waffle on for a while.
I've already made a fool of myself. Adult welfare. Oh, I will go through it when we get to there because it's all on the slide. But these amazing people will look after you. Please make sure you make the time to go and visit because they're there for you. They're going to have massage chairs. They'll have coffee. They'll have chocolate. I've got a message for that. So,
Regulated coffee, tea, coffee, hot chocolate, hugs, tea, hugs, and hugs.
you know how we don't hug or care? They do.
It's not just for welfare, it's to sit on the couches and just chill.
Someone reprimanded me yesterday because I didn't say for our every leaders, not just our adult leaders, and no ventures. You have your own little playroom. 18 and above. And it's open now from 9:30 till 9:30 because some people thought they could stay the night. So I'm looking after their welfare and I've put a time on it. Thank you very much.
You'll see us.
You'll see them. Yes, Jan just did say she can steal a buggy and come and get you if your rest of your team has told you need to have time out. Our venture team is being headed by Duncan McCall. and he'll be around to ensure that our venturers are well looked after as well. First aid managers, Frog Hollow, Leslie Eggfield. She's going to stand up and wave at you. I'll talk more about Frog Hollow now. And I've already showed you Ziggy. He's going to be at our advanced first aid post out at outside. Which one is it? Sycamore. The old Frog Hollow. We've had a bit of a move. Okay, the procedure is, you amazing leaders who have given up your time as your pack first aiders will be doing the band-aids, hug, kiss, send them on their way trick. Oh, Marcus, don't do the kiss bit. Okay, so if it's something a bit bigger than a first aid and you have to bring your own band-aids, we don't supply them, then you go up to your sub-camp where they've been really, really well looked after. This year we've got some paramedic students who are nearly finished, who are coming up, and they're going to man our first aid posts as well. So we're really, really lucky we've been so well looked after. Plus our VSFA, so I'll get that out, will be there as well. So we're really well covered this year, so we'll probably have nothing go wrong. And then if there's any other problems after that, they'll come up to the advanced first aid post, where Ziggy will be there with Marg, and I've seen Marg's here somewhere. Beautiful Marg Curry. Yep, she's here somewhere. She'll be there as well, and a couple of our paramedic students. And if they need to be seen by anyone bigger with more qualifications, which I don't know how that's going to happen, we have John Hudson at the medical centre, our amazing doctor who comes all the time and is beautiful for us, who is amazing with the kids. And we've got a couple of other doctors, one who likes really little towels. Oh, I won't tell you that. And it's particularly hot. Oh, that's the colours. And it's manned 24 hours by nurses as well. You'll have a first aider in each cub pack, in all your Cuboree packs, and each service team or each activity team will have first aiders as well. And they must be level 2 qualified. So if you haven't done provide first aid with Sarge or one of his team, you should have by then. The activity bases will have a minimum of 1 first aider available during the activity, and they must be level 2. And during the day, when all the cubs are off-site from their pack lines, the paramedics will be going out to help in the activity teams as well. And they'll be clearly visible, and there must be a clearly visible station for them to go to, and where you'll be able to see take your little cubs, and they'll be wearing the welfare scarf. If you're taking anyone to a first aid station, you cannot send them on their own, and you cannot send them with a buddy. It's not like going to the loo, they have to have an adult with them. If they come up to Frog Hollow or to the advanced first aid station, they must have an adult with them as well. Subcamp first aid is open 24 hours. Your subcamp teams are amazing, so they will have them well stocked. They must also be level 2, which we've already gone through, and they will have the welfare scarf as well. First aid post will be out the front of Sycamore. That's your first stage of your triage before they get sent down to the doctors or into Frog Hollow. And they're only going to be staffed daylight hours. If they get sent down from your subcamp, they'll go straight down to Frog Hollow at night. Frog Hollow now has been moved. If those of you who remember, it was in the old hospital area. It's now going to be out the front of Gembrook Scout Hall, sort of to the side of Storm Hut, because it's a bigger area for us and more central. And you have to be referred from the advanced first aid post or your subcamp. And they'll be staffed 24 hours, and they'll have radio contact, and they're open during camp setup and pack up, because we tend to have a few accidents then when people are getting tired or getting a bit excited because they're so keen to come to Cuboree. I've talked a bit about Frog Hollow. I'm going to skip a few because it's late and I'm not allowed to talk as much today. Frog Hollow's got everything. It's going to have a doctor. We'll have a dentist on call as well that we can use. Some of our leaders are dentists, and I believe they are coming to Cuboree. Is that correct? So your little people and the little people that have been given to you to look after will be very well looked after. We will have I'm sure it's here somewhere, a specialist diabetic nurse that's on site. Now, someone said to me yesterday, why are the diabetic kids getting something extra and the other kids are feeling unloved? Well, it wasn't sort of like that. And he said it's very hard to explain to them while they weren't getting something special too, because the diabetic kids last time got to go in a buggy, got a special party, because these kids are living with diabetes 24 hours for the rest of their life. So it's not something special, it's something because they're special. So as leaders, you should be able to answer that. These kids are going through it all the time. They can't go and go to a normal party, and they can't eat normal lollies. And they're always sick, and they're always testing their blood. So if you can't make up, something that really puts it back to them that they're not getting something special, they're getting something because they're special. Emergency services, it can take up to 20 to 40 minutes to get an ambulance there. We're lucky this year that the paramedics will have an ambulance on site. So that would cut that down, and we're so well covered this year. We're probably be lucky to get a broken arm. Oh, and we do want to train just a stitch. Exactly after. We do like a little bit of rain because they slip, they don't crash. It's true. Okay. We've also already talked about no one's to ring families, no Packer Kayla, no next door neighbour, no good mate is to ring home. If there's a phone call to be made, before it becomes bigger than Ben-Hur and before it's assessed by our medical staff, which as you can see we're going to have thousands of and be top heavy, it's made by the welfare team, the doctors in Frog Hollow, or the big boys over here. It's not made by anybody else. Because you know what happens, you know about Facebook, you know it's quicker than anything else, and often it's not true. You know, oh, he was really badly hurt, straight on the phone, tells the mum they're really badly hurt. He's not even broken. You know, those stories can be really, really good. Oh, I won't tell you that story. I was actually going to tell you that last time we made a film. That we had gastro in the camp, which of course we had none because everyone's going to wash their hands and be amazing. But we couldn't use Care Bear Castle for a reason, so I started this little rumour, and no one sent kids to Care Bear Castle, so they were absolutely bored out of their shoes. So sometimes rumours are made up for a good reason. They can do minor suturing in Frog Hollow. Plaster support if the plaster gets if someone comes already with a broken arm or something, we can fix up the plaster or get them really support. I've done it now, I might as well just come through the rest of it. Oh, clean areas in Frog Hollow to do diabetic pumps. Bit better than in the campsite with the grot and the dirt and the washed hands. All incidents are reported as according to Scout policy, you already know that. All treatment must be fully documented, that'll be done in all our centres. Any gastro cases, because someone has, it's usually when someone's brought it to camp. So if you've got a kid who's chucking on the bus, chuck him off. Don't bring it to camp. That's safe. So mum, if you go to get your kids on in the morning and mum said he's been chucking for a couple of days, say no thank you. He can come in a few days if he's clear. It's a real shame, we're going to miss him, but we'd rather he comes to camps healthy. Because that's normally how we get gastro. Last time we had none. We had a couple of happy chuckers, but it's normally kids who aren't used to the food that they're going to get at camp. It's not usually gastro. Because you're all going to wash your hands. You're all going to have hand washing stations. You're all going to teach the kids, before they come to camp, to look after their mate. Oh mate, you didn't wash your hands. You can't leave the toilets yet. And teach them about the germs. Do the things with the ultraviolet light and the sprinkles on your hand. You've got to wash them with soap to get it off. Teach them all that before you come to camp, because you're all amazing leaders and you should already be doing that. My Joeys the other day were scrubbing their hands to get the sparkles off because I told them they were germs, and imagine if, yeah, I won't tell you what I was imagining. So gastro will be managed in your pack lines. So if you get kids with gastro, your kids won't go to activities. It'll all be managed in your pack lines. So they won't go off to activities till they're 24 hours clear. So then the next if anyone starts chucking in that next 24 hours, then they won't go for another 24 hours. Are you getting the trend? So kick that kid off the bus. We will have 2 buses going around all the time during most of the daylight hours and till about 9:30 at night. They can pick up any kids that need to come up to Frog Hollow or to Care Bear Castle. That's the buggies won't be used for that, but that bus will be used for transporting of kids backwards and forwards and for the washing in the morning and at night. Ambulances will be sent for, and they'll be sent through Frog Hollow in an emergency, and the doctor's there. And then, because they're in contact with the police scouters, we'll make sure there's a clear road all the way through. We have an emergency response team which will be available during the day for all call-outs. Okay, full data will be held at Frog Hollow, so I will have all your Care Monkey stuff, or Frog Hollow will. Pack health information needs to be updated, so if you've got as you were saying before, when they get off the bus and they've got the sheet that says they're on antibiotics, please make sure that the parent has updated that, or that sheet is then passed on. Okay, it's up to you to make sure that happens, or the pack okay. Medications, you all know how to manage medications. It must be written in a book, it must be signed for, it must be kept separately and away. If you've got a lockbox, and most groups now have at least one because the kids have to take them to Jamboree, so there should be someone around who's got a box with a key on it, because our medications, which might have gone from a little tiny box, are now in a big basket or smaller. So just make sure they're locked up or put away carefully. We can manage all these things. There's no reason for cub to come, not allowed to come to camp because they've got an allergy, an illness, or another problem. We can manage all those things. We're set up to manage those things. In saying that, someone asked me before, they've got special needs kids coming to camp. Well, special needs in that they're autistic or on the spectrum. If they normally have a carer at home, they need to come to camp with a carer, because they're in this amazing, big, energetic, out-of-this-world event. There's nothing like the normal getting up, having breakfast, going to school with a carer. It's 4 or 5 times the enormity of that. So no, they can't come to camp without a carer if they normally have a carer. That's for your benefit and for them. If you want them to have the best time of their life, which is what we're all here for, then we need to make sure that happens. And if it's not happening in your packs, speak to the packer colours that they come from, or if it's yours, speak to the parents. Because you want them to have the best time, and I don't want you to be exhausted because you're trying to make it the best for them without help. Youth welfare, I've gone through all that. Care Bear Castle is for sometimes our little people who are a little bit overwhelmed. They're not used to being at camp 24/7 for 4 or 5 days. Sometimes they just need to chill out. And when you've got so many kids in your cub pack, they can't do that. So get them up to Care Bear Castle, get them up to your sub-camp welfare where they'll have that facility as well. If they can't manage it for some reason, they'll send them up to Care Bear Castle where they can chill out. It's not for big people, you have to go to adult welfare. And they might put on a video for you up there. Pre-camp preparation. Well, you're all good at that. You've come today, so you're organised enough to do that. You're going to start training them over the next few weeks, if I'm allowed. Oh, Dan's gone, so I'll make it up. I'm going to put some welfare tips up on the Cuboree Facebook site. Things like, yes, Mum, you're not allowed to pack their bag. You can put everything on the bed and they can pack their own. This is all stuff you all know. Things like teaching them to take their bag to the shower. Get one of those shopping bags. Put your stuff you need in it. Put your toilet bag in it. Make sure it's a toilet bag that will hang up, because there's nothing better than everything on the floor. These kids will go into these shower tents, and I've seen kids before who wouldn't go in because they were petrified. They had to go through those big plastic things to get in, and then it was dark and hot and sweaty and muddy and dirty. And yes, they're going to get muddy and dirty. Teach them that's what it's going to be like, but make it a big discovery. We're going to go through and we're going to come out clean. It's going to be like the laundromat. But give them the tools that they can manage that. It's our job to make them resilient so that this is the time of their life. And if you need any help with that, if you can't get it through your sub-campus teams, which I know you can, give me an email, but keep it nice. Sub-camp welfare, they'll all be set up for you, and you've got amazing welfare leaders and sub-camp leaders, so they'll all be ready for you. Wet sleeping bags. Now I was going to do a bit of a demo, but I've already disgraced myself, so I better not.
Don't sink much lower, so go for it.
No, I'm trying to get out of a hole. Okay. Yeah. She's already left the room once. Okay. Wearing pull-ups is not a disgrace. Wearing pull-ups gives them back identity and self-respect. So in your pack lines, before you come, please teach them that we will have a safe area for them to get changed, and I'll show you roughly what I mean. Your welfare person in your pack lines, they will have a tent which is really visible to your kids and they know where they can go to you if they need you. You will have on the bag a packet of pull-ups. So at night when they say, you say to them, do you need to come and talk to me for a minute? They can go in there. They can whip off their jammies. They can whip on some pull-ups. And they can come out. They've been to see you. They're all set for the night. They're not going to wake up in the morning with the rest of the cub pack going, poo, someone wet their bed. Oh, your bed's all wet. Their jammers are all wet. They've just lost, 100% of their self-respect. But they can come to you in the morning. You're going to have a plastic bag and a little ice cream tub. They can take their pull-ups off. They can give them a quick wipe with the wet ones, the world's wet ones. And they can come out dressed or back in their dry jammers. Nobody needs to know. So we also then don't have $9,000 worth of washing, and my daughter doesn't disown me because she's doing the laundry. So you've been told to turn your sleeping bags inside out. Last time there was wet ones full of different things, all left in the bottom of the sleeping bags. Come on, we're all adults. Teach these kids to have their respect for themselves, and it doesn't hurt to wear pull-ups, and that's a cheap alternative. We can do some clothes, but if the kids bring spares, that's even better. And as pack arcaders and leaders, please bring as many spare sleeping bags as you can. We cannot actually get them dry cleaned anymore, because dry cleaning will not actually destroy the germs that come with poop, basically. Hot water will. And dry cleaners, if they do your sleeping bag, because of what they're made of now and the material that they're made of, the dry cleaning process will burn that and melt it. So it takes 2 or 3 days to send it through a cabinet to dry it. So nobody I've spoken to will actually dry clean those bags and guarantee they'll come back in the same shape. So that's why we're washing on site as well. Hot water for dirty ones and just wet ones. If they're only just a little bit wet, just give them a quick sponge and hang them in your drying system in your sub-camps, because that's why we've set it up. That's why it's all been changed a bit. Okay, blankets too. But try and get the kids to bring an inner liner, that makes it a bit warmer too. Care Bear Castle Extended Care, they can chill out. That's up at Demolna, up on the training ground. Overnight stays for kids, I already know we've got one little person who'll be in a helmet from having had surgery. He'll come up and sleep in a bed at night, so he's not going to be knocked by the other kids, and he's just going to be a bit warmer and a bit more comfortable. Mini bus transport, I said. Birthday muffins. I know there's 77 birthdays so far. 9 of them are special diets. We've already ordered the muffins, and they will be all right for special diets. And each person will get an individual, or child will get an individual little muffin. It's going to be really cute. Sorry, got a cake top for that. We're all in radio contact. Special needs cards. It's good. Just stand up there. That's enough. They get worse. Okay. So your sub-camps have welfare as well, so that's your first port of call. But if you're noted to be getting cranky, now we don't do cranky. We do not do cranky at Cuboree. If you need to get cranky, then you need to walk away. And believe me, these kids are experts at pushing your cranky buttons. Especially if you're getting tired, you haven't had a sleep, you haven't had a decent night's sleep, or at least 3 or 4 hours. That's pretty decent on Cuboree. Take a break. Go and have a decent coffee. Go and have a quick sleep. Share your load around. It's really important that you stay happy, because if you don't, then it's going to radiate back to the kids. They're going to know the minute you're a cranky pants, and they're going to get cranky and revolting. So do take a break. Open from 9:30 to 9:30. No, you can't stay there, and you won't come out looking like Noddy, who's in the corner. Venturers. You have a venturer welfare team who will look after you. You will have a welfare person in all of your activities. You have a chill-out zone and a study centre with some available Wi-Fi at the Hoadley area. So there is no excuse not to do your homework. I've got a big stick for non-homeworking people. Oh, gentle little big stick. And you'll be camping in your activity groups in Subcamp 4 in the Duck Inn. So venturers, you will be really well looked after. In each activity group, you will have a welfare person. You will also be setting up your venture councils, so they will be the people you go to. If you're not getting fed, or you're hungry, and I know you all have hollow legs, and you have to be fed every 2 hours to keep your blood sugar up. I've got children, well, big children now. So if you're hungry, make sure someone finds you something to eat. Baggy's already said there's lots of food, so make sure you find it, and not on the last day after you've already been cranky. And we really do appreciate the fact that the venturers and the rovers come and work their little tails off for us. Any questions?
When did you steal all my photos?
Somebody else had them.
When did they steal them?
Don't give her the microphone, that'll be worse. Actually, we're starting a whole new group and it's called Daughters of Scouting People.
Hi, sorry, just a question on first aiders.
Oh yeah, sorry.
If we have a parent helper on the catering team who's a level 2 first aider, can they be the designated first aider for the camp?
Say yes, and they should have their certified copy of their level 2 sent to the branch so we can put it on their record.
Excellent answer, Russell. Yes, they can be if we have a copy of their certified first aid certificate sent into branch to have on record.
Thank you very much. And second question, you mentioned the welfare person in the camp. Is that the same as the first aid person, or is that another person?
Not necessarily. Because often first aid people are busy, you need a couple.
In 2010, the welfare team wandered around with little handout bags of coffee bags and Tim Tams and lollipops for the leaders. I didn't get that in the next one, in 2014.
That's just they had a really good home for you to come to.
Yeah.
But I do have chocolate here and I have some more happy balls if you really think you're going to need it. Sorry, one Hang on. I'll go to the microphone till it comes down to you.
You mentioned gastro, 24-hour exclusion from activities. Is that just the kids who have gastro, or is that the whole pack?
Whole pack. Because they will have played with their mates.
Just clarifying that first aid question before about parent helper being if they've got the right qualification, if it goes into branch and that sort of thing. Thinking that we of course need to be very aware of, we might allocate someone for our pack to be that first aider, but then when we're moving around the site at activities and so on in between time, we need to have perhaps more than one, given that those cooks will not be with us.
It won't matter because on each activity you go to will be a first aid post with qualified first aiders.
I'm talking about between our camp and getting to that activity sort of thing in between.
You just go to the closest one.
They're all over the place.
Most scouting people these days have at least level 2 or provide first aid. Is that it? Now I've disgraced myself.
Thank you very much. Let's make the desk a sensible person sized again. Adele, I hope the counselling bill isn't too expensive from that. Thank you, Robert. Okay, moving right along. The last presentation for today. If you'll call attention to Mr. Affleck, he'll make sure your bus goes straight to the locker.
We already have a special bus for the locker. Yes, hello, my name's Eric Affleck. I'm the transport manager. I deal with buses, mostly buses. Have you been asked yet, have you been to Cuboree before? Okay, put your left hand up if you've been to Cuboree before. Put your right hand up if you haven't been to Cuboree before. No, I didn't say the first lot, put their hands down. Good number of both. Okay, essentially if you've been to Cuboree before, we're doing it the same as before. That's the short version. Now we'll do the longer one for people who haven't done this before. Pretty much we'll be using the same pickup spots unless there's some changes. For example, I had a question yesterday. The group only had 2 people coming along for the last 3 Cuborees. Now they've got 20. Can they get a bus pickup close to where they are instead of driving for 2 hours? Yes. So those sort of things. If you've got any other questions on that, go through info@cuboree.com.au. It'll come to me eventually. As you've probably been aware, the pack number will be the same as your bus number. We will endeavour to put all the pack on the one bus, and we'll be using larger buses because we've got large packs. There won't be toilets on most of the buses, but you can arrange stalls with the bus driver. For service leaders, venturers, activities, other people who are going along but aren't part of a pack as such, we'll be trying to put you on a bus with your home group or somewhere in your home district, so that you're probably going with people that you know. The only problem I've got is I can only allow 1 bottom per seat at a maximum. So if we end up with 63 people going on the one 57-seater bus, that will be a problem. As for the independent travellers, as has been mentioned, it's not too late to put people who have chosen to go independent. Put them on the buses. Please put them on the buses. You can put them on the buses. Yeah. To start off with, we'll be sending out bus lists in the next week or so. It'll be coming from me with an outline of the pickup spots. They may not be excellent times yet, but it's mainly that you'll be knowing where you're going to be picked up from, the approximate time, and who is going on your bus. The packer cailers will get them first. If the packer cailer is not going to be on the bus, they should nominate someone, let us know, and I can send it to both the packer cailer and the bus captain. The bus captain is essentially making sure that everyone that should get on the bus gets on the bus, and everyone that should get off the bus gets off the bus. To go off with something Bronwyn mentioned, all the buses will have some sort of cleaning thing on board, in case you get chucky cubs or leaders. Okay, the arrivals for subcamps 1, 2 and 3, same as we did before. We'll be bringing in the buses. By the way, you don't have to read all this stuff, it will be on the website. The buses will be coming straight in, dropping you off as close as possible to your pack site. If you're dropping off, just make sure all the kids stay on there until all the stuff is off, then get the kids off because they'll be moving buses through. There'll be a handful, maybe 6 or 7, where the buses actually have to drop you off at the car park or Deer and you have to walk through. A question came up yesterday, some line leaders have their long totems or poles or something. Yes, bring them along, they don't usually take up a lot of space, but everything else, don't put it on a bus. The bus driver has the ultimate say on what goes on, and if you bring along a barbecue and he says there's not enough room, he can make you leave it behind. So get it there beforehand. BYO lunch on the first day. We'll be bringing people in all over the place, and we won't be catering for that part, so make sure they have some sort of lunch or something to bring with them. Obviously, if you're 2 hours away from Cuboree and it's 1 o'clock in the afternoon, which will be fairly rare, 12 o'clock, and they're getting hungry, they want a toilet break, you can arrange that with the bus driver, okay? Just short stops, please don't take an hour and go off and see the zoo and everything. It'll wreck my timetable.
We have a back stop on the way.
That's entirely up between you, your conscience, and the bus driver. Yes. Just a reminder, seatbelts will be fitted to every bus. Seatbelts must be used if they are fitted, and they are fitted, so they must be used. Essentially, the bus drivers will enforce it, but all the leaders, everyone else should enforce it as well. There's no need to have kids running around the place on the buses. Right, changes. There will be changes. There will be the occasional change where people ask if they can come, get on a different site, so place, that sort of thing. Put them through to info@cuboree.com.au. We'll also be trying to load the reports up there. We're trying a different reporting system. Now, independent travellers, etc., etc. Cars, tick, tick, tick. There's no toilets on most of the buses. Off-site activities. Over in here, put your hand up, Nick. This is the only time I identify you unless there's police. Nick is in charge of the off-site activity transport, so he's to blame. The only thing that I'm going to mention now is that because we have a lot more Cubs attending this, we have to have a lot more trips to the off-site activities, which means we start earlier and we finish a bit later. For each of the Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, the first group needs to be up. The buses will leave the car park at 8 AM. I know, I got that yesterday too. I'm thinking of it as an excitement side. Lots of people going, ooh, great. Essentially for the off-site, because there's not a lot of time to get people to and from all the off-site activities, they try and be up at the car park at about 15 minutes before need to leave. Along with the bus list, I'll send out an FAQ with most of the questions that have been raised to me before that'll answer a lot of the questions. But the short version is, get people on the bus. There's really not an opportunity to just come in and drop people off. Try and get them on the bus, okay? And info@cuboree.com.au. Now, for my sins, I will say, any questions? The little red bus is something that's been used over and over before. It's a website. It's a website to get transport details out. We're going to try something different. It'll probably be called the Little Red Bus or something similar on the website to get those details out to you. But the first one, in about a week or so, we'll be sending them out to the packet handlers to make sure that the people who are on the buses are meant to be on the buses, and then they'll be letting people know where to go.
I know you're over here. Left side. Over here. I know you're going to be sending out the details, but is it the aim for every pack to get on the bus at the same spot, or is there going to be multiple stops for a pack?
I'd love it if they all got on the one spot, but that's not going to happen.
Okay.
We've got about 90 buses to bring in. About half of them, about 43, something like that, are one pack, one single pickup. Places like Melbourne or big districts and that sort of thing. So for about half of them will be, yes, here's one spot in the middle of the district. Generally it will be the spots where we've picked up before for Cuboree and Jamboree, mostly Cuboree. But there will be other places that we're coming along, we're picking them up in 2, 3 places. We're trying not to have I'll pick up 3 here and 2 here and 6 there and 4 there. So we'll generally probably 3 stops at most, depending on where it is. Okay.
I know it'll be probably weather dependent, but I know on at least one Cuboree, the buses dropped the cubs at their campsite.
Yep.
Will that be happening, or will it be they'll all be dropped off at the environmental centre and they find their way up?
Just about all of them will be getting dropped off at their campsite. So sub-camps 1, 2 and 3 will be running the buses to their campsite. There's probably about 8 to 10 which we can't run to the campsite because they're just where their campsites are, just aren't accessible to the roads. So they'll be getting dropped off in the car park and then either walked through, or probably walked through, and their gear will be taken down by some of the sites and services people. And of course it'll be the reverse, so pretty much wherever you're dropped off, that's where you'll be picked up on the Friday. Just one thing about the Friday as well. Last time we started getting the buses out about 8:30, 9 o'clock. We're trying to push that back a bit so that we're not having as much of a joyous screaming start to the day. So yeah, everything will be a little bit later, and we're going to work that out for catering for lunches and that sort of thing.
If I need to change my pickup point because I'm going with one pack for Cuboree, but I'm living in a totally different spot.
Yep.
How do I do that?
info@cuboree.com.
That is by email. That's right.
Yeah. Put in your participant number. That helps us a lot because then we don't have to go look up the name of that, and just say, look, I'm on bus 123, but can I get picked up on bus 206? Now, depending on seats, of course, but we'll try and do our best.
I'm a cater from Shepparton.
Hello.
I've got some cubs from Bright, which is about 2 hours away from Shep. Would they be sit on another bus from that area?
Sorry, can you say that again?
Our pack is a bit over our region.
Yep.
So I've got 6 cubs. Most of the cubs are from Shepparton, but I've got 6 cubs who live in Bright in my pack, and they're about 2 hours away. Would they be put on a different bus?
If they've got a leader, this is something one of the things that we do is we try not to just put kids on their own on a bus.
I have a leader.
Yeah. If they've got a leader, what I'll try and do, and because you've got 6 of them, I'll try and do something like, yes, pick them up and bring them down. If it's maybe 1 or 2 kids, probably not. But once we've got a reasonable number, we can say, yeah, pick them up from here and go to here and go to here, and on the way, yeah. Just put those things in the pack details and just say, yeah, remember me? I was the guy that you said you'd do this thing for.
When you're going on an off-site activity,
yes,
and you've got to be at the bus at 8 o'clock in the morning,
yes,
do you expect all the packs to be there at the same time, or do some go at 8:15, 8:20?
The buses will leave at 8, and probably the last buses will leave about 8:05. We will have 7 buses, so each morning we're moving about 360 people. So we need people up there as much as we can so we can get them all out fairly quickly. One thing, just to save me a little bit of time later on, it may not be possible for your whole, if you've got 6 kids or whatever and they've only got 3 seats on a bus, we may have to say, look, just put 3 seats with another leader that you know, and you get the other 3 on another bus. They're all going to the same spot. You don't have to remember that I'm on bus 1 and I'll be getting off at location 1. They're all going to the same spot. But because we've got, as I said, 1 bottom per seat, we have to get you on the buses. So yeah, if you get up there, we'll load you on and they'll go. Okay. Oh, come on, I've got another hour. No?
You haven't, we haven't.
Just a quick one on the off-site activity, and it's probably for the activities team. It sounded a bit adventurous, and without giving too much away, do the kids need a change of clothes for the off-site activity?
Not unless they have an accident.
Very good.
I can't speak to the activities, I only get them there.
Right. Cool. Just some light items of housekeeping. What are you doing to me? Okay, wrapping up some items of housekeeping. The people at home say they hope the people who've been coughing all day feel better soon. Andrew has found the size 14 and the 5XL shirts. So if you're on your pack list, Kaylers, if you had size 14 or 5XL shirts, you go and find Andrew. He's moved himself inside now. Oh, he's right here.
We are just outside. Belinda is out there waiting for you.
So if you're a 14 or a size XL, go and find Andrew to collect those. 5XL or size 14.
14 and 5XL.
Yes, that's what I said. Gilmore Park. Just to clarify, if you are parking your car, you don't get a parking permit, you decide to park along the side of the road, we'll get your car towed. The deal is, it'll cost us a slab of beer with the bloke in Gembrook for every car he tows away, and then he gets $350 impound fee from you. So properly or car. With the off-site activity, you can probably all guess what you're doing. Anybody not clear on where you're going on your off-site activity? I'll give you a clue. It runs on the rails. It goes from Gembrook to Lakeside, but it's a secret. When you do your off-site activity, this is really important because of the sheer number of cubs we've got this time, and some of the things that run on the rails that I can't talk about have got quite limited seats, so there'll only be 7 adults plus carers going off-site. Now, I don't care who the 7 adults are. If our caterer wants to have a sleep that day and send the caterer, because the caterer is a mum and wants to go with the kids, cool, I don't care who. But 7 people, 8 people, the 8th one will get hands to the sheet. You're not going off-site.
Just on that though, seriously, we did that last time, and we had to get our police scouters to physically take a member off the bus because they refused not to go when there was too many. And I've got to tell you that I'd be happier if adults didn't go as long as the kids get on. That's what my aim is. Okay?
And also, if you are a pack wanting to borrow crockery from the Q store, can you please put your request through to your sub-camp leader. That's all my pieces of housekeeping.
And I would like Emma on the way. Where's Emma? Come and see me afterwards, please. And Elizabeth Tide. Elizabeth, come and see me also, please, afterwards.
Have we got any final questions before we tell you things to send you home? We get that? I'll make chatterbox up the back and bring you a microphone. Go on, any other questions? No? Right, okay, moving on. Back to, oh no, slides are gone. Where to find us? info@cuboree.com.au. If you haven't heard that enough today. This 85439821, it's a phone number at the Victorian Scout Centre. It currently is linked to voicemail, and then from the voicemail it emails us and we ring you back. At Cuboree, that will be the primary contact number. Don't ring Gilwell Park because you'll just upset Kat. Ring that number. Get your parents to ring that number. If anyone needs to find you, that's the number. Today's slides and resources should hopefully be loaded on the website by tomorrow night. Tonight, if I get home and I'm feeling energetic, but probably tomorrow night. Get your PACS program from the web. Take a photo of this slide, because it'll have the emergency number on it. You won't all download the slides, and then you'll get to Cuboree and go, oh, what's the number? So take a photo of that one, not that one, that one. Another reminder about the bunting scarves over here. People get your scarves, and this person's wobble I've got here. So if you are Beaufort, Echuca, Eltham North, Emerald, Strathmore, or Bendigo, or Maffra, go and see Sue for your bunting scarves, otherwise she'll probably chuck them in the bin.
I've got a list of a couple of packs of ones. So if you don't need them anymore, that's not a problem. Just let me know. Thank you.
It's a waiting list. So if you don't want them, let's do know so we can give them to people.
Thank you.
She's right here.
Straight out there.
Smile this.
Somebody asked what they were. They're these scarves from the previous Cuborees that we're giving away to you to use as bunting to dress up your campsites.
So they're just taking up room in the Q store and Andrew needs the room for all the junkies got this time. No junk. Oh no. No, cheap shirts, yeah? Yeah, cheap shirts.
Will there be a place for leaders, etc., to charge phones, cameras, etc. on site?
Adult welfare. Adult welfare is apparently your sub-camp headquarters as well. But don't, preferably not charging phones in your toilet block, please.
Is there a gear packing list available on the website, or do we make up our own?
Gear packing list, if it's it's not already on the website under the forms and whatnot, it will be up there tomorrow night. We'll jump from today.
Okay, thank you.
Well, the valuable resources and information, not junk, just jeepers. He hasn't had much time to play with the desk.
Short desk.
Is the another question, Dorothy Dixon. Is the the badge swap thingamajig? They have a badge store. The badge club, I think it is. Are they there again this time?
Badge club will be there again, yes.
And will kids be able to buy a little swap set like previous times? Or
yes.
Yes.
They'll be able to go to merchandise. You can get a
So
badge for $5 now.
fantastic. Thank you.
So that wasn't a Dorothy Dixon, was it from? No? Alright. I'd like to also, one more question.
As a venturer, I have not been told anything about what activity I'm on or anything. How do I find that stuff out? Or when?
We only allocated the ventures to their roles during the week last week. Some of the activity managers are away, so they haven't had a chance to contact everybody. Nikki, has he packed it up here, or have you still got it? Listed? Nikki, hello Nikki too, Nikki 1. Have you got the list of service leaders outside still?
Yes.
Yes. So go and see Nikki. Otherwise email us and we'll let you know if you don't hear from anybody.
Activity managers are going to email everybody that's currently assigned to them shortly.
There you go, activity managers, stand by.
They should have it done by the 6th of October, I'm sure.
Now we had hands going up over here.
We want the venture.
Go away. We have. All right. At this point, any other questions? Finally, before we send you all home. Look at that. We've caught up. Thank you. Who brought you? We'd like to take this opportunity to thank our hard-working team who made all this happen so far. To our team of directors, thank you for the awesome job you've done. To the managers as well, thank you for the awesome job you've done. Thank you for the job you're going to do. Thank leaders for you guys as leaders, thank you for what you've done so far. Thank you for what you're going to do. The parents and the Cubs mean to thank you too, even if you do get yelled at and told off and answered back to for an entire week. Everyone within means thanks. Thank you for how you also roll with the punches and deal with the things that don't work out as we promised them to, because we do the best we can, but sometimes the best laid plans can go awry.
And I'd just like to take this time for you to remember that when you get home today, when you talk to your significant other in your life, listen to what they've done today before you tell them all the great things that have happened here, because they're the ones that have let you come and play this game this game. So thank them for
Thank you all for coming. This is it. Don't we're going to take Safe travels. Safe travels. Safe travels home. Thank you.